Complex here on the south side. Bob Pompiani, soon to be joined by Missy Matthews. It is a Tomlin Tuesday as the Steelers, off a bye week and a 24-21 win against Minnesota, tried to get to 4-1. The Cleveland Browns, who lost in London last week, had to make the trip back 24-21 to that same Minnesota team that the Steelers beat. And so they are using a new quarterback, somebody we haven't seen before in the pros. That would be Dillon Gabriel, who made his rookie start last week and looked pretty good. Mike Tomlin will address that, the game, injuries, and everything else out of the Ireland game right now. Let's send it up to Coach T.
Good afternoon. Certainly was a good bye week for us on a lot of fronts. First and foremost, from a health standpoint, feel really encouraged about the return of some people who've been out. Guys like Alex Highsmith and Joey Porter Jr., for example, worked yesterday on our bonus day, and the arrows pointed up on their participation. But we'll follow them throughout the week to make sure it continues to move in the appropriate direction. I think the same thing could be said for Jaylen Warren. Obviously, he missed the last game, but looked really good yesterday. And so excited about those guys. Two guys that we're watching very closely that certainly are going to be limited at the front part of the week, but may perk up and be included toward the latter part of the week is Calvin Austin with his shoulder and Jalen Ramsey with his hamstring. Both have been highly aggressive from a rehabilitation standpoint during the bye week, and so really encouraged about the potential of those guys, but we'll take it certainly day to day. The bye week is also an opportunity for us to sit back and take a look at some of the things that we've done schematically, adaptations we've made to circumstance, whether it's matchup related or player availability related, to look at the overall trajectory of our units, offensively, defensively, and special teams relative to our vision. Also to look around and look at some of the things that are trending in the game, how people are producing or preventing big plays, whether it's run or pass, the turnover game, gadget plays, et cetera, possession down play, fourth down appetites. We looked at a lot of things going on globally, and I think oftentimes you do that. But I think that's one of the advantages of maybe having an early bye, just to get a sample size of how the ball is being rolled out globally in 2025 at the early stages of it. And we did some of that. It was a good experience for us, but it's also really good to get back into the world of competition this week. We had a really good bonus day yesterday, putting an emphasis on physical conditioning and running and playing football that way. As we get back and warm back up to it. And so excited about continuing that during the week. I'll talk briefly about Cleveland, some things going on with those guys. First on offense, obviously last week they went to Dillon Gabriel. This guy's a unique rookie. First of all, he's 25 years old, Hawaii native. He's a year older than Herbert, to put perspective on it. He's a 6-year college player. He threw for over 18,000 yards in college, 155 touchdowns, 32 interceptions in terms of a TD to interception ratio. And so I think that in-helmet perspective, you can't put a price tag on. He also threw for 10,000 plus yards in high school. And so he is a rookie, new to the National Football League, but this guy's thrown the football around a lot. He's older and more experienced than most rookies. I think timely processing is his superpower, and I think his experience and that superpower has been on display. And I think those are one of the central reasons why they went to him. He's able to function with fluidity in an effort to minimize negativity when passing. They play a lot through their running back and their running game anyway. And so we got a big challenge dealing with him and dealing with them this week. I mentioned their running game. I can't say enough about what I'm seeing from Judkins. This guy's played in 4 games. He started 3. He had absolutely no training camp to speak of, and that really highlights what it is that we're looking at. Kudos to him and kudos to them for what he and they are able to produce. He's a tough runner. He's good inside. He's got good patience and pick and vision on interior running. He finishes off his runs with violence. He's underrated in terms of his ability to bounce it to the perimeter and pop long ones. He had a 60-yarder or so. They got called back in London last week that kind of highlights that. I've seen this guy a lot. Obviously, we got a couple of his teammates from O-State, and so I've seen a lot of his video, man. He is a complete back. He's the type of guy that can wear a defensive unit down, certainly fits their mold. Is an awesome replacement, if you will, for Nick Chubb, and I think it's going to do nothing but get better with him and them. And when speaking about their run game, certainly offensively they got a lot of young people playing. I've mentioned Dillon and Judkins as rookies, but Isaiah Bond and Fanning are also rookies. And so they have a lot of young guys at the eligibles. But what they don't have is inexperience up front. There are three interior people, Teller, Pausick, Batonio, man. They've been doing it a long time, man. I think Batonio's got 166 starts. The other guys have around 90 apiece in the National Football League. They probably got 50 or so together, that collective. And I think that interior group up front really sets the pace for them. Down in and down out from a protection standpoint and running the ball, I don't think enough is written and said about that collective and how critical that collective is to their offensive output and stability. Got a lot of respect for those guys, man. We got a full day's work ahead of us trying to minimize their run game with that runner and those three interior people up front. In the passing game, certainly, as I mentioned, Gabriel's superpower is his process and his timely processing, and I think that's on display in his utilization of tight ends. Njoku's a guy that we've been dealing with for a long time, really talented, really good after the catch, can turn screens and checkdowns into big gains. He's got a highlight reel full of plays of dragging defenders and things of that nature under those circumstances. And Fanning is an oversized athlete. I think you box him in when you view him as a tight end. There's been some of those athletes in recent years. I think Brock Bauer reflects that in Vegas, for example. He's probably the prototype of the young guy.
DK more involved. How can we push the ball down the field more? And I said last week, you got to run the football. And I think today we ran the ball pretty effectively. I thought Kenny Gainwell, obviously if you're a football fan, you know who he is, and he followed his career, and it seemed like every time he went in the game, for me as a football fan, with Philly, it was like, man, this guy's really good. He should get more touches. So when I came here, I knew what kind of player he was. And I tell him all the time, he's an absolute baller. So any opportunity he gets, man, Kenny's been great all year and make himself a lot of money.
Aaron, I broke the record today for most passes in the history of 50 plus yards. 91 they said, now we're going past Drew. What does that mean to you back in your career, but still getting accolades? What's the passing game got going today?
Yeah, it's the twilight of my career. I wouldn't say back end. I used to say 5, 6, 7 years ago I was on the back nine, but I'm teeing off on 18 right now. By the way, what happened to the Ryder Cup? Europe's smashing them still? Yeah. That's too bad.
Aaron, another record that you come away with is the longest classic in Boat Park history. Would you talk about the history of today, just the emotion and the atmosphere?
I thought the atmosphere was outstanding. I mean, I came out real early, and in most NFL stadiums, there's like a 2 hours when the stadium opens, and it starts to trickle in. But somebody came back in the locker room at like 11 and goes, man, there's a ton of people out there already. I was like, well, we're not in the States anymore, This is a different type of fan, so I loved it. I thought the crowd was fantastic.
I'm talking about Kenny Gainwell, who got the start last week and made the most of it, almost, as Missy said, 100 yards. I think he fell 1 yard short of that,
99.
but got in the end zone a couple of times, and even without Jaylen Warren, the Steelers decided that was their best mode of attack against the Minnesota defense by bringing in extra people to help on the offensive line, and it worked. And I guess now the question is, did they do that more often than not? And if so, what does it mean for Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth, whose snaps were down in this game?
Yeah, I don't think it's something you want to do all the time. Obviously, I think they put it on tape. And as we know in the NFL, everybody watches everything, can see everything, and knows what you're doing. But I do think Kenny Gainwell is a guy that we did see involved in this offense heading into that game, especially in the passing game. I think he's one of those reliable guys that's always in the right place. Aaron Rodgers total for the entire team. It's definitely something you want to continue to do until they can prove that they can stop it. But then, you know, on the other side, it also helps in terms of the passing game. And we saw, you know, another DK Metcalf, you know, crazy thing happen. And I don't think anybody was shocked that he turned that into a touchdown.
He is one of the NFL leaders in yak yards. And of course, that takes a perfect pass to make it possible. And you like one play, 80-yard drives taking 12 seconds. Yeah. What took him so long to get the end zone? 12 seconds? He's faster than that. But that play.
Steelers sideline for that. But it was great to see. You're seeing the chemistry that we've seen DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers start to build in Latrobe, and not amazed by things that he does and just how fast he is. And I don't know if he was faster or Peyton Wilson when he stopped that touchdown, but I know they both were in the 20s and they were pretty close.
Now, Peyton Wilson, it's funny you bring that up because that's another indication of what a pass a little bit behind a guy can do, because Jordan Addison was open, wide open.
Very open.
Clearly a blown coverage of some sort, but he had to kind of stop and then restart. And Peyton Wilson got the angle on him. And if that pass is leading him, there's no way anyone catches him.
No, absolutely. And the amount of time that it took away, not letting them score right away. You didn't want them to score at all, but they did. And that really played a factor into it. I know Terrell Austin, the Steelers defensive coordinator, spoke last week before the team went on their bye week just about what a big play that was and how much he saved the team from, as you said, miscommunication and a call gone bad.
So when we come back, we have a lot more to talk about here. We're going to get into the defense and the work it did against Minnesota's offense, and also look ahead to the Cleveland Browns, who will come in here after a loss to the same Viking team the Steelers beat the week before. That's all coming up as we continue here live from the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on the South Side. It's a Tomlin Tuesday, and we're back in the flat.
Yeah, it's like we talk about each and every week. It's fun to get teams one-dimensional. Obviously, that's us doing our job. That's the offense doing their job. Special teams had some great plays, too, and it's a whole lot of fun, man. Steel Nation came out today and really showed out. Really happy about that and happy about the win.
DJ, any meaning behind the celebration of putting the ball in the stands after the interception?
I was just trying to get it to the stands. The stands are so far away. I knew if I threw it, I'd probably hurt my shoulder. So I was just trying to get the fans involved as much as possible, and they were incredible all day.
DJ, we heard something happen to your teammate Skylar while he was here, Skylar Thompson. Is he doing okay? And have you heard anything about this?
I don't have enough to comment on that.
Just raise your hand if you need something.
Yes, and we will probably be drinking many more here shortly. It was incredible, and hats off to the Rooney family for establishing this culture here and having this fan base follow us the way that they do. I think you have to acknowledge the Rooney family first and foremost, and the fans were absolutely incredible today, and I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not. They're everywhere, and they're incredible, and it was a fun atmosphere today.
Were they max protected from what, and how were you guys able to get the break?
Yes. Yes, very much so, and that's why it's just trying to find any way to get to the quarterback, trying to impact the game as much as possible. I thought Herbig had a hell of a game on the other side. I thought Keanu had a hell of a game inside. Obviously, Cam pushing the pocket.
Here on a Tomlin Tuesday, Bob and Missy with you, and we're talking about the Steelers' defense, which really played a physical game against Minnesota, and the fact that Carson Wentz was in there, veteran guy, and you had to wonder, how he would do in that situation because he knows how to win. He's been around. He was a candidate for an MVP one year in Philadelphia, but the Steelers got to him 6 sacks and I think 14 quarterback hits, and that takes a toll on a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he stayed over there. They went to London and faced the Browns defense. So probably not the best international trip that Carson has ever experienced. I'm sure
but he did engineer that winning drive at the end for 80 yards against that.
That was, yes, I'll give him credit for that. But in terms of being hit an astronomical amount of times between the two games. But I think the Steelers defense is really building on something that we started to see, especially in New England. They carried it over to that game against the Vikings. And I think they're just menaces in terms of being able to get into a quarterback's face, making them adjust what they want to do, their timing, getting hands up. We've seen just Cam Hayward tipping balls that lead to interceptions. It's almost a routine thing every game. But I think it's a good problem that Alex Highsmith sounds like he'll be back. And we've been seeing Nick Herbig taking advantage of that opportunity and playing lights out alongside TJ Watt.
Yeah, Nick Herbig, I wonder how they're going to deploy some of these snaps here because he's been playing at a very high level.
Oh, yeah.
The more he's in there this year, it seems the better he gets. So that's kind of nice luxury to have. You have 3 guys, and not even counting Jack Sawyer, who's a guy who can do that as well.
Absolutely. And I think, Derek Carmen is getting more comfortable. Obviously, he missed some time with that knee injury from the last preseason game. So it's starting to come to fruition. It feels like we have not been home in forever. It was only one game, but it will be good to be back at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. An AFC North matchup. As Coach says, it's always hot in the kitchen. And these are two teams that know each other well. And at least we're not waiting till week 11 to play somebody from our division this year.
No, I think that's a good thing. And right now, the good thing is the Steelers in the standings in the AFC North. 3-1 with a healthy lead here on Cincinnati, which started 2-0. Now they've dropped 3 in a row, and they look like they're really desperate for some change at quarterback. I don't know what they can do. And then you have the Browns and the Ravens both at 1-4. So these are difficult to come out of those kinds of holes, no matter how talented you are. When you dig that kind of a 3-game deficit, that's hard.
Yeah, and I think, especially as we're getting into more and more divisional play, these games will mean a lot more. Hopefully, the Bengals don't make a quarterback change until after next Thursday, because that would be good for the Steelers looking to get a win on a Thursday night on the road, I think the first time since 2016. So it will be interesting, to say the least, what they're able to do, hopefully, over these next 2 weeks to really, continue to stockpile those wins, because it does not feel like we're in the middle of the season, even though they had the bye week, because it was only those 4 games, and it's just going to get tougher as we go down the road. And
Cleveland's starting a rookie quarterback, although he's been around, as Mike Tomlin talked about, 63 starts in 6 years. He's an older rookie. However, you can tell that he's poised in that regard. So if you're the Steelers, how do you attack this kid?
Yesterday, he has a very loud mouth, so he's good at helping people communicate.
We saw their quarterback, who is a rookie. You also have a lot of other rookies. Cleveland's using quite a few. We'll talk about some of them and their impact on their early part of this season coming up. When we continue, we're live once again up until 1 o'clock right here on KDK Plus and Steelers digital platforms. We'll be right back.
Steelers Nation, what a journey it's been. Just a year ago, people were laughing at us. Analysts said we were done. Commentators claimed Pittsburgh had lost its edge, that the Steelers' way was outdated, that the discipline, the toughness, the grit that once defined this team had faded away. But look around now. Look at what's happening in 2025. The Steelers didn't just survive the storm, they rebuilt their entire identity from the ground up. And the best part? They did it their way. No drama, no headlines, no desperate moves. Just pure, classic, hard-nosed Steelers football. Mike Tomlin has once again proven why he's one of the greatest coaches in the modern NFL. Through all the noise, through all the doubters, he never changed his message. Discipline, defense, heart. That's the foundation. And now, those words aren't just slogans, they're the reason the Steelers are sitting at the top of the AFC North once again. Let's be real for a second. This wasn't supposed to happen. The experts picked the Ravens. They hyped up the Bengals. They called the Browns the dark horse. But when the smoke cleared, it was Pittsburgh standing tall, doing what we've always done, proving everyone wrong. The 2025 Steelers are the perfect mix of old-school toughness and modern execution. Aaron Rodgers brought the veteran precision this locker room needed. He didn't come here to be flashy, he came here to lead, to bring poise to chaos. And under his command, the offense finally found what has been missing for years: rhythm, confidence, and identity. You can see it in the way Rodgers talks on the sideline. Calm, focused, surgical. No panic, no ego. He fits into Pittsburgh's culture like he was born for it. When he steps on that field, it's not about personal stats, it's about winning the right way. And when you have a backfield anchored by Jaylen Warren, everything starts to flow. This guy embodies the Steelers' spirit. Undrafted, underestimated, unstoppable. Every time he lowers his shoulder, it's a reminder of what this franchise stands for: effort, toughness, and heart. And now with Kenneth Gainwell complementing him perfectly, Pittsburgh's running game has become a weapon again. But let's not kid ourselves. The heartbeat of this team is still the defense. It always has been, and it always will be. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Joey Porter Jr., this trio defines what it means to wear the black and gold. It's pressure, aggression, and attitude. The Steeler curtain may have evolved, but the DNA is the same. Every week you can see it. The communication, the chemistry, the confidence. The way Porter Jr. locks down the perimeter like a veteran. The way Highsmith and Watt collapse pockets and force turnovers. The way Deshaun Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick command the secondary like field generals. This defense doesn't just play football, they hunt. And it's not just about stats. It's about moments. The chase down plays, the goal line stands, the clutch interceptions when the entire stadium is on edge. That's Steelers football. It's not glamorous, it's not perfect, it's raw, it's real, and it's ours. Now think back to how far this team has come. Remember the early weeks of last season? The frustration, the inconsistency, the questions about identity? That's gone. Every piece, every adjustment, every ounce of pain from those struggles built the foundation for what we're seeing now. Mike Tomlin rebuilt this culture without ever tearing it down. He didn't panic. He didn't blow it up. He refined it. He demanded accountability from veterans and rookies alike. And that's what makes this version of the Steelers so dangerous. Everyone knows their role, everyone plays for the man next to him, and everyone believes. This isn't a rebuild. This is a resurrection. When the analysts said Pittsburgh didn't have enough star power, Tomlin doubled down on coaching. When they said Aaron Rodgers was too old, Rodgers showed them timing beats age every time. And when they said Jaylen Warren was too small, he ran through linebackers and left them in the dirt. And when they said the AFC North was too tough, the Steelers went out and took it anyway. That's what separates this franchise from the rest. You can question their stats, you can criticize their style, but you can never question their heart. Because this is Pittsburgh. This is the city of comeback stories. This is the team that thrives when the world counts them out. And make no mistake, the rest of the NFL is starting to notice. You can feel the shift. Teams are preparing differently now. They know that when you face the Steelers, you're in for 60 minutes of punishment. No easy yards, no free plays, no breathing room. Just pain, precision, and pride. And for the fans, the ones who stuck around through the hard years, the ones who never stopped waving that terrible towel, even when hope seemed far away, this is your moment too. Because this team reflects you. Blue collar, loyal, resilient. Every win, every hit, every comeback belongs as much to Steelers Nation as it does to the players on that field. From doubted to dominant. That's the story. Not because of one superstar, not because of some fancy new system, but because of something deeper. Culture, belief, brotherhood. That's what wins in Pittsburgh. That's what's back. And as we move deeper into this season, every game is another chance to remind the league what Steelers football really means. It means winning ugly. It means outworking your opponent. It means finding strength in moments of doubt and turning them into defining plays. Aaron Rodgers said it best in his post-game interview last week. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving us right. That's it. That's the mindset that rebuilt this identity. Steelers Nation, this isn't just a comeback. This is a revival. It's the restoration of everything that made this franchise great. The pride, the toughness, the brotherhood, the fire that burns inside every man wearing black and gold. So to the fans, to the doubters, to the rest of the AFC North, hear this loud and clear. The Steelers are back to being the Steelers. This isn't hype. This is legacy. This is what happens when discipline meets heart, when leadership meets purpose, and when a city stands behind its team like family. Pittsburgh football is back, and it's only getting stronger. Steelers Nation, I want to hear from you. Do you feel that? Do you feel that pride again when you see Rodgers under center and Watt charging off the edge? When you see Warren breaking tackles and Porter Jr. shutting down top receivers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's make some noise. Like this video if you believe this is the year the Steelers take back everything that belongs to them. Subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire for every story, every comeback, every heartbeat of this team. Because this isn't just football. This is Pittsburgh football. And the identity has been restored.